Morning of the last day, and we're headed out to check out a couple bridge photography locations down here in the Flint Hills.
Yep.
And then we got to come back and crack down camp and unfortunately head for home.
Bummer.
Bummer. Oh well.
So like I've said before, this trip was mainly about finding new photographic locations closer to home, but not right next door. So this is one of the bridges that I wanted to check out before we headed back home today for a future shot. I got some reference shots with my 14 to 24 f2.8 lens because unfortunately I left the 24 to 70 at home this trip. So I've been shooting most of the stuff for reference. Some of it's turned out pretty good. We got one other bridge that we're going to go check out here. While this may not be the most photogenic bridge, it is a piece of living history in the Flint Hills area of Kansas. I am big on photographing things that exist now that may not exist in the not too distant future. This is the raw image. It's a little off kilter, and it's just a reference shot to begin with. So I did straighten up the crop there in post. I also did some post-processing in the sky to make it feel a little bit better and bluer. It's just a snapshot. Honest to God, this is just a snapshot to remind me of this location to see if I can find a better composition for this bridge. Would have been really cool if there would have been some nice Simpsons-style clouds up in that sky, but it wasn't to be.
Hi everybody, here's another Geosplaining for you. Everybody seems to love those. So we are here today in the Flint Hills. We've been here for a couple days. I felt like I should kind of explain the geology of the Flint Hills. The Flint Hills were named actually by Zebulon Pike, who Pike's Peak is named after. You might be familiar with that in Colorado. He came through here and called these Flint Hills. He said he was walking through what appeared to be Flint Hills, and the name kind of stuck. You can see it all around here in the hillsides. You'll see it sticking up out of the ground and everything. There's not a lot of farming around here for that very reason, because flint is extremely hard. What it is it's silica based. So it's basically microcrystalline quartz, if you're familiar with quartz crystals. It has kind of a milky white color to it typically, but you can also get grays. You can also get kind of a tannish red color. And it can be kind of marled or layered. You can get some interesting colors in there from different impurities in the rock. There's different ways that they believe it's formed. Some people believe it's formed from intrusions of seawater into burrows from animals in the bottom of the ocean, like worms and things like that. The seawater seeps in, it contains silica, and it hardens there. And that's the predominant theory, because you'll see it in these interesting sort of like pavements, what we call chert pavements in geology. And they're kind of bulbous in nature. So you've got, it's almost like the holes have been filled by that silica containing water and then precipitated out that way. That's very common. Some people believe it's some sort of animals that have died that are silica based that have formed it, but the predominant theory is that it is seawater that contains silica that is intruded into holes in the rock that's already there. So that's how the Flint Hills came to be. This was formed when this was an ocean, and the tops of the hills are flint because they're a lot harder than the surrounding rock. And so there you have it. That's how the Flint Hills were formed, and I highly recommend that you come here and check it out. Kansas has more to offer than most people think.
At another location that we found. I think this one would be a great location for some astrophotography.
It would be, yeah.
On a clear night. Shelley was able to zoom in on the building and see what the signage says in the stone.
It says District 34, 1896. It looks to be an old schoolhouse. That's my best guess. So
it's probably a one-room schoolhouse out here. It's built out of native stone and looks like
beautiful little old building.
And it looks like it's got the traditional two outhouses where you'd rotate between usage. Anyway, nice location. Looks like it'd be great for either an epic sky shot or an astro shot. there are no trespassing signs around it, so you could probably get away with walking around on the property as long as you were respectful. So that might be something down the road, maybe next year, come out here and do some astro.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Wow.
Here's
Here's the snapshots that we took for reference when we were out here.
And as far as snapshots go, these aren't that bad. I'm actually really happy with them. I still stand by my statement that this place would be a spectacular astro location in the summer. May have to try to get back out there and do some astro work with this schoolhouse. The things I don't care for in this image are that tree. It really needs a haircut. It's looking kind of scraggly. It's a cool subject, and we did have some nice clouds in the background. I did 2 different shots of the same composition, so the next shot is actually going to be the landscape version. When you guys are out scouting locations and taking snapshots, how do you handle situations in the field? Do you let them get you down, or do you just slog through it and figure it out later? Let me know. Let's have a discussion. Here's the portrait version. Here again, that scraggly tree. Just, I don't know. It's a distraction for me. I guess I could try to remove it. Maybe a square crop would be better. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment down below. So just in case you're wondering, while I'm not showing Shelley's photos here, we were looking at the video while putting it together and noticed we took the exact same compositions or really close. It happens from time to time when you're out working together in the field. Sometimes there aren't additional compositions to be had. Now let's go find that other bridge, the stone one that I was talking about earlier.
So we found the other bridge here. It's an old stone arch bridge that was built in 1886. It's no longer used. It's got a few trees growing out from between the stones. The light is kind of crappy quite frequently.
Yeah, it's noon, so what do you expect? But
so I did take some shots with my 14 to 24. I'll show this to you now. This is another location that I need to come back to when there's much better light.
So this bridge is really cool. It's one of the last remaining stone arch bridges, to my knowledge, in the state of Kansas. It might actually be the only stone arch bridge from the 1800s left out there. This was the main road at one time, so I tried to do it some justice while we were there scouting. I took 3 bracketed shots, under, over, and base exposures. You know what I'm going to do with those if you've been watching videos from day one. I'm going to blend those together to give me a higher dynamic range flat HDR file to work with for my post-processing. The goal is to have the sky like it is in the first image, in that underexposed image, and to have the bridge exposed enough that you can read the writing. This is the raw file. The sky is still overexposed, but it's not blown out like it would be in the base exposure that I took that day. So we'll take that raw file, we'll go into Lightroom and do some edits. Basically, I brought down the sky to bring it back in line with the rest of the exposure and not be so blown out. You can still see a hint of the cloud just off the bridge on the far right. I really wish we had a better or more interesting sky that day when we were out photographing. But this was our last morning down in the area.
All in all, I think we found quite a few places down here in the Flint Hills that we can come back to and photograph in better light and better conditions. And I hope that you all have enjoyed coming along with us on this little adventure of scouting a new area. Not quite new to us, but a lot of the locations that we found are new to us. So if you want to continue on with the journey and follow along and be part of the community, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below.
down below.
And ding the bell for future notifications of when we release videos. And if you haven't yet done so, please give us a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.